Finally, to end this shelf, I have this gigantic stack here. I kind of regret making these stacks because it makes it really hard to go through all the books, but I have The Island by Victoria Hislop. This is one of my favorite books. It's really amazing. It involves lepers and Greece and family history and intrigue. And yeah, this is a really good book. And I have One Day by David Nichols. This looks at the history of a couple over a period of 20 years and how they meet each other on graduation day at college and sort of following their lives after that. The Motel Life by Willie Lawton. This is like the cheapest book I've ever got. It's like $3 on sale at Borders, and it's a really weird book. Don't really recommend it to anyone. Helmet for My Pillow, From Paris Island to the Pacific. This is Robert Leckie's book. If you know him, if you've ever seen The Pacific, which is basically the partner to Band of Brothers. The Pacific takes place in the Pacific Theater while Band of Brothers was in Europe, but this is his book that he wrote that helped tell the story and that turned it into a TV show. And then With the Old Breed, this is E.B. Sledge's book, or Eugene Sledge. He was another person in the Pacific, but I've acquired and read both of their books after seeing the Pacific and Band of Brothers. Blue is for Nightmares by Laurie Faria Stolars. This is a series, and I haven't read the other ones, but it's kind of like a Wicca thing. It was pretty cool, but not cool enough for me to try and acquire the follow-ups, as you can see. I have The Road by Cormac McCarthy. This is a good post-apocalyptic story about survival. I Love You, Beth Cooper by Larry Doyle. This was made into a movie, which I have not seen, with Hayden Panettiere, of all people. But it was kind of a fun book. It's a humor story with some serious underlying elements. And then I have The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. This is another World War II book that they're actually trying to make into a movie right now, but it keeps, it'll get green-lighted and then it falls through, but I know Kate Winslet's supposed to be in it. Then I have Delirium by Lauren Oliver, which I have done a review on this channel. This is the first book in the Delirium series, followed up by Pandemonium, which has come out, but I have not acquired it yet. Then I have Hey Nostradamus by Douglas Copeland, another one of his books. This is about a school shooting and kind of the lives of the students after. Super Sad True Love Story. This is a really odd book that I reviewed on this channel. I love this cover though. It's really cool. It's catchy. I have to admit the majority of the reason why I got this book was the cover. I did read the synopsis on the back, but it's a fun book. If you like strange, weird books, then you'll like that. And then finally, after this shelf, I have Girlfriend in a Coma, another Douglas Copeland book. This was the first book that I read by him, and I thought it was really good. So that's why I've acquired a few others. The Girlfriend is in a Coma. That was a really, really good description of that. And finally, the last shelf of the third bookshelf of mine, the last of the books that I've kind of read, except I haven't read some of these because this is where I have all of my coffee table books. And if you're like me and you're kind of crazy, you want to read everything in your coffee table books, but I haven't read a lot of them because there is so much to read. But I have the Skylines of the World, Yesterday and Today, and then I also have Skylines of American Cities, Yesterday and Today, which I flipped through, and they're really cool. Like, you can see what it used to look like versus what it looks like now. And I got those actually when I graduated high school. My parents gave them to me just because they know I like books. And then behind them, I have the travel book, A Journey to Every Country in the World. It's a Lonely Planet book. I absolutely love this. I am currently reading it, except you can't see my bookmark. I am in the G's, maybe? Right now. Journeys of a Lifetime, 500 of the World's Greatest Trips. This is a National Geographic book that I got with this book right here, and I have not read that one yet. This one I have mentioned before. Harry Potter Page to Screen. I hauled this. This is the complete filmmaking journey. I really want to read this book. It talks about every movie in the Harry Potter series and how they made it. For any diehard Harry Potter fan, it's an awesome book. And then I have some of the series here. I have of the America 24/7 with pictures from different states. So of course I have the one for Vermont. I have the one from Texas. That's my friend who lived in Texas for a while, and that is an embarrassing old family photo from when we went traveling. So yeah, and that's America 24/7. We're just gonna ignore the family photos there. And then Wonders of the World, a book about the wonders of the world, of course. But with the America 24/7 books, you can actually get like family photos put on the cover, and then underneath is the actual cover. So, but I have read those 3 books already. But they're in here because there's no other place to put them. So I kind of have a mix of the books that I have read and have not read already in there. Oh, normal cover for Vermont. Then I have the Cats 24/7 one of the same theme. Those are my cats right there. But I have read that one as well. And then I have Great Wonders of the World, another kind of travel, come see it while it still exists thing. And then finally I have Harry Potter Film Wizardry, which is basically a version of that, but not. It's much easier to read, a lot more pictures and like fun stuff. But I have reviewed this book on the channel if you want to learn more about Harry Potter Film Wizardry. Yeah, and sorry I didn't name any of the authors for those. I feel like you could probably just look them up really easily without needing to know the author. And then finally, I don't have any books right there. They're just old photo albums and whatnot. And lastly, I have my to be read shelf. My to be read shelf is actually the headboard of my bed. So there's my bed. And I have a lot of books in my to be read pile. And I have them placed so that they don't fall on my head at night. But I'll start down here first in this corner, because these are actually the books that I am currently reading. So we have Insurgent by Veronica Roth, Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin, and A Sweet Far Thing by Libba Bray. There also is some sort of green theme going on here. Don't know why, just sort of happened. Now as we move our way over, we have kind of a mini coffee table book, Royal Palaces. This is just royal palaces all over the world. Pretty self-explanatory. A book about weather, guide to weather. I haven't really paged through it too much, but for some reason it's still here. I have 501 Must-Visit Destinations, another mini coffee table book. I have, this is the other Uncle John's Bathroom Reader that I mentioned, 4-ply. I will someday be conquering another one. Then I have, this is the Golem's Eye. It's the second book in the Bartemius trilogy. I read the first one a really long time ago, so if I ever want to read this, I'll have to reread the first one. But this I actually found somewhere, and I asked I found it at school, just sitting there, and I asked the teacher if I could keep it. This was in 8th grade, at the end of 8th grade. And she said, sure, keep it. So, yeah, that's why I have that. Then I have The Mysterious Flame of Queen Leona by Umberto Eco. I have mentioned this book in my top 10 covers before. I have to read that still. I have An Unfinished Life, John F. Kennedy by Robert Dallek. It's a biography, more or less. And I borrowed it from some family friends, and they haven't asked for it back yet, so it's still sitting here. This is... it's Avenger of a Diamond, Hope. So it's the Hope Diamond, which I actually did see in person when I was in Washington, D.C. not too long ago. But this is going to be an interesting read when I get to it. Then I have Upton Sinclair's The Jungle. I haven't read this, obviously, because it's in my to be read pile, but my sister read it, and she said it was one of the creepiest things she'd ever read, and it made her not want to eat meat for a while, even though things have obviously changed since then, but just, the thought of it. Why You Say It by Webb Garrison. This is fascinating stories behind 600 everyday words and phrases. So, like why we say Great Scott, and I don't say bootlick. Funny Bone. Jaywalker. Okay, I do say jaywalker, but hightail, yeah. Greenhorn, no. So, half and half. Then I have Harry Potter y la Piedra Filosofal. This is the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone, in Spanish. I took Spanish throughout high school, and one day would like to challenge myself to reading this, but if you don't practice Spanish, it kind of leaves you after a while. So that's sitting here because I haven't officially read it yet. Next, I have a copy of the Bible. I am not a religious person, but someday I would like to read the Bible. Then I have A Short History of Ireland by Joseph. Kuhil, my friend, gave this to me because she figured I would enjoy it because I like Ireland and I like history. Then I have this book, which I have hauled for you guys before. This is my Austria book that I'll go through before I leave for Austria in the winter. And I've also hauled this for you before as well. Our Great War, stories of folks who live at this, at Wake Robin, near where I live. And it's their World War II stories. That was the worst explanation of a book I've ever given. The Quincunx by Charles Palliser. This is a really confusing book that I have also mentioned before because I've had it forever and I still haven't read it yet because it's gigantic and I'm a little scared to start it. Because, yeah, the 3 books I'm currently reading right now are all gigantic also, if you haven't noticed that. Alright, so now we'll move up here to the top part of my shelf. We have the 3 books in the His Dark Materials series by Philip Pullman. We have The Golden Compass, The Subtle Knife, and The Amber Spyglass. I have read these books already, but I want to reread them. I think the last time I read them was about 5th grade, so it's been a bit. Up above, I have Carrie by Stephen King, Go Ask Alice by Anonymous, Where Are the Children, Mary Higgins Clark, and then I have Ender's Game and Ender's Shadow. Now, why would I have these books? All right, because Les really wants me to read them, so they are currently sitting here in my to-be-read pile. And below, I have We Need to Talk About Kevin, which I got not too long ago, but it's on a haul on this channel. A Map of the World by Jane Hamilton. I have also hauled this before. God Is Not Great by Christopher Hitchens. This was given to me by a friend of mine for Christmas a couple years ago, and it's still sitting up here because I haven't gotten to it yet, because as you can see, I have a lot of books. Then I have all 7 books in the Chronicles of Narnia. I have read these before as well, but I want to reread them as an adult. I have The Magician's Nephew, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, The Horse and His Boy, Prince Caspian, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, The Silver Chair, and The Last Battle, and those are all by C.S. Lewis. And it's in a really nice fancy set. It's so pretty. Then up above, I have Roots by Alex Haley and David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. These books right here are all my mother's books, and I just kind of stole them because I wanted to read them. Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert A. Heinlein. Somebody told me in the comments how to properly pronounce his name, and I've forgotten. But yeah, I've hauled this before. And then, of course, A Feast for Crows, which I mentioned I had sitting up here before. The last in the Song of Ice and Fire series that I own. Then right here I have a Bronte collection. I got this for $20 at Chapters, which I thought was a fantastic deal. So I have Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte, The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne as well, and then Jane Eyre and The Professor by Charlotte, and then I have Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Up above here I have Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides and The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest by Stieg Larsson, the final book in the Girl with Dragon Tattoo series. Then I have American Gods by Neil Gaiman. I have hauled this for you guys before. I have The Story of Edgar Sawtelle by David Wroblewski. This is another one that Leslie teased me about because it's Oprah's book club one. I have The Distant Hours by Kate Morton. This is the first book. There's a series of these now. I think there's at least 3, but I got this for like $13, so it was a really good deal as a gigantic hardcover book. And then I have The Lost Symbol by Dan Brown, which I have also hauled before. And then I have The Passage by Justin Cronin, which made an appearance in my top 10 covers because it's all shiny and pretty right there. And then I have 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. This is... Ooh, I should probably take these books. Books are going to fall everywhere if I'm not careful. Which has the really cool slipcover over it. And I got this for super cheap at Urban Outfitters of all places. And then I have The Memory Keeper's Daughter by Kim Edwards, The Almost Moon and Lucky, both by Alice Sebold. All these books right here have all shown up on my channel already. The English Patient by Michael Ondaatje, Chocolat by Joanne Harris, and then I have House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. I have had this book for a really long time, and I haven't read it yet. Well, I started to read it, and then I just sort of decided I wasn't in the mood for a gigantic, strange book, so I haven't read it yet. I have The Chronicles of the Black Company by Glenn Cook. It's a bind-up of 3 books. The Black Company, Shadows Linger, and The White Rose. I got it because it was super cheap, and I guess I was just feeling the fantasy that day or something. See, they're precariously balanced at the end, and if I don't save this right now, it's all going to fall. Everything is safe. So we have Dan Brown and his Angels and Demons. I have read this before. I just didn't have my own copy, so somebody gave me a copy, and now I have to reread it, of course, because that's just the way I am. The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. See, this is just bad. It's gonna fall again. I have British Kings and Queens by Mike Ashley. It's basically a history of the British monarchy, and I am really interested in that kind of stuff, so that's why I have it. Then I have The Maze Runner and the Scorch Trials by James Dashner. And then finally I have The Welsh Girl by Peter Ho Davies. This is, I believe, another World War II book. And then finally, the little tiny book that goes in that tiny space there to keep everything from falling over is Where the Red Fern Grows, which is right here. It's by Wilson Rawls. Many people have already read this because it was required reading in school, but I haven't, and I want to, so that's why it's currently shoved in this tiny corner. Down here, I have a couple journals, but I have a little German phrase book and dictionary, which I'll need soon. Teaching a Stone to Talk, Emotions, Expeditions and Encounters by Annie Dillard. This was a book that I got for Christmas. I have Marked, which is part of a series, House of Night novel by P.C. Cass and Kristen Cass. I haven't read it yet. I'm not a huge into vampires kind of person, so that's still sitting here. A Magic Hour by Kristen Hanna. This is another book that was kind of like randomly picked up for a buck or so. And then I have Pure by Rebecca Ray. I have never seen anybody spell their name with 2 B's, and I can say that because I'm a Rebecca. I started reading this book when I was like a couple years ago, and it was really, really weird, so I didn't finish reading it, and therefore it is still sitting in this pile. And then lastly, I have a few books that were resting up top here that I moved. And I just dropped one of them down my bed. Whoops. Alright, I have Let Me In, which I recently hauled John Ajvide Lundqvist. It's a Swedish book. You can watch the book haul to learn more about it. I have A Secret Kept, which is the next book by Tatiana de Rosnay. Not a sequel, but I'm really looking forward to it. Under the Tuscan Sun by Frances Mays, which many people want me to do both a book and movie review on. And then lastly, have Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson, which is about walking on the Appalachian Trail. Yes, and that's how I have everything precariously balanced above me when I am sleeping at night. But that is all my books. You guys just got the grand tour. And that concludes my bookshelf tour. I hope you enjoyed it. Any comments that you have about the books, leave them below. If you like books and this is your first video of ours, definitely subscribe. You can also follow us on Twitter and friend us on Goodreads. All the links are below, and I will see you guys later.